Friends, Professor Kennedy will be addressing us on nutrition and diet in this module. Do you know the weight of an average Indian baby? It is 2.5 kilos, and the weight of an average Indian adult is anywhere between 50 to 70 kilos. And if there is a major factor responsible for this change, it is the food an individual takes. While food in the right quantity will result in growth, development, and energy, an aberration in quantity and quality will take the same individual, in fact, towards fat. Friends, Professor Kennedy will be addressing us on nutrition and diet in this module, its uses and misuses, its virtues and its vices.
Our topic is nutrition. The food we eat can either be our medicine or our poison. Let us look at the food that we eat on a day-to-day basis. Some of us are non-vegetarian. Non-vegetarians eat meat. There are two types of meat. The red meat, which is mutton, beef and pork, and white meat, which is chicken and fish. Mutton, beef and pork should be avoided. It contains high levels of fat, about 37%. Chicken and fish contain 17% fat, which is better for human consumption. Anything less than 25% fat is okay, because the human body is approximately 25% fat. What does meat do? It's a protein. It enables growth and repair. But vegetarians don't eat meat. So where do vegetarians get their protein from? They get their protein from grain, dal, pulses, gram. This is important as a source of protein to vegetarians. But grain is also carbohydrate, which gives you energy. Rice, wheat, maize. These foods give you energy. So energy is important for our day-to-day function. Grain also contains fiber. Fiber is the indigestible component of food which cleans the internal digestive tract. It removes the toxins and the impurities from the body. So having fiber is important. Now, the more you mill a product, the more you refine a product, the more fiber is removed, and therefore the less valuable a product is. In that context, it is better to have atta than it is to have maida. It is better to have gur than it is to have sugar, because the unrefined product also contains fiber. But fiber is also contained in plants and vegetables. Plants and vegetables contain a lot of fiber, and that is why vegetarians have a lower risk of colorectal cancer than non-vegetarians. In India, for example, there is a low risk of abdominal cancers as compared to the West, where this is a major problem. Vegetables and fruits should preferably be eaten raw because they contain vitamins. The more you heat a vitamin, the more you kill a vitamin. And therefore, raw vegetables eaten daily is an essential part of good health. Talking in terms of fiber, a fruit is healthier than a fruit juice. The fruit juice contains the sugar but no fiber. The fruit contains the fiber as well as the fruit juice. We all drink milk and eat eggs. These are known as dairy products. Milk is good, it contains calcium. Calcium is essential for the bones and the teeth. But milk also contains fat, and fat must be avoided because fat clogs the arteries and finally causes heart attacks. So how do you make milk better? By boiling it, removing the cream and not utilizing the cream. Cream can be converted into butter, cream can be converted into ghee. Regretfully, these must be avoided. The egg contains the yolk and the white. The white of the egg contains the albumin and the protein. The yellow of the egg contains the yolk. It is better to eat eggs not more than once or twice a week. Now, whatever I talk about is relevant to adults. Children require abundant nutrition. And then we have oil. There are several types of oils. The good oil is the oil that is liquid. Any oil that turns hard is bad. Coconut oil, for example, is bad. Ghee turns hard, that's bad. Butter is bad. Any liquid oil is an oil that does not increase your cholesterol. And then there is water. The human body is more than 70 to 80% fluid. Your blood is 99% fluid. Your brain is 80% fluid. Your bones are more than 60% fluid. We must all have sufficient water. How much water? Roughly speaking, 8 to 10 glasses of water every day is fine. The topic of nutrition can also be considered from a more technical aspect. For example, food comprises of micro and macronutrients. A macronutrient is a protein, a carbohydrate, and a fat. A micronutrients are minerals and vitamins contained within the macronutrients. What is protein? There are two types. There is the A-class protein, which is meat, and the B-class protein, which is grain. Which is better? Even while the A-class protein is complete, the B-class protein comprising of dal, pulses, gram, beans is better because it does not contain fat and cholesterol. What does a protein do? It enables the repair of the body. Millions of cells in the human body, your blood, your skin, your hair, and even your bones and internal organs are being replaced on a day-to-day basis, and therefore protein is important. The second component of macronutrients is carbohydrates. What does carbohydrates do? It comprises two parts. The starch gives you the energy, the ability to function on a day-to-day basis, and 60% of your diet must come from carbohydrates, but it also contains fiber. What does fiber do? The same way as if you wish to clean your external body, you will use water and soap. If you wish to clean your internal body, you can't use water, because water is absorbed by the kidneys and released as urine. It does not clean the body. You must use fiber. Fiber contained in carbohydrate and vegetables removes the toxins, removes the bacteria, removes the unnecessary impurities, purifies the body, and therefore carbohydrate fibers are important. Fat is an essential part of our food. All foods, when taken in an excess, are converted into fats, and therefore intake of dietary fats must certainly be restricted to less than 15, not more than 15%, 15 to about 20% is about the amount of fat you should have. There are two types of fats, saturated and unsaturated. A saturated fat, as I mentioned earlier, is a fat that is hard at room temperature. This clogs the arteries. It remains inside the bloodstream, blocks the arteries, and prevents circulation of blood to the heart or the brain, which then becomes a heart attack or a stroke. An unsaturated oil is a liquid oil, as I've indicated. Sunflower, mustard oil, rice bran oil, these do not increase the clogging of arteries, and therefore they may be had. What is a cholesterol? A cholesterol is a non-vegetable fat. Does that mean that vegetarians do not have fat? No. When you eat excess carbohydrate, it is converted into a triglyceride. A triglyceride is also a fat, and this is equally damaging to the human body. It also blocks the arteries. So while in the West, the heart attack could be caused by cholesterol, in India, the heart attack could be caused by triglycerides. Now, those are the macronutrients. So what are micronutrients? Micronutrients are vitamins which are essential. This is the therapeutic aspect of food. These are important to enable the body to become healthier, minerals which are essential for body function. An antioxidant is a product contained within vitamins that purifies the blood, that repairs cells, that prevents cancer. All vitamins contain antioxidants. What are the vitamins? You have vitamin A, which is good for the eyes. It comes from carrots and vegetables. You have vitamin B, which is good for digestion. It comes from a protein source. It helps to repair muscle tissue. You have vitamin C, which is good for the skin. It prevents skin ailments. It comes from lemon and citrus foods. You have vitamin D, which comes from a calcium contained in milk, which is metabolized through sunlight. It strengthens the bones. You have vitamin E, which improves the cholesterol in the body and improves the antioxidant function. And then you have vitamin K, which is important for blood clotting. So vitamins that are contained in vegetables and fruits have a tremendous therapeutic benefit. Carbohydrates that give us energy are digested in the mouth. Protein that is used for body repair is digested in the stomach. Fats are digested in the duodenum. The food then passes to the alimentary canal, where all these are absorbed. It is stored in the liver, if not used as energy, if not used for repair. Water is absorbed from the lower intestine. It is passed on to the kidneys for purification and then released as urine. The entire digestive process would take 24 hours. All foods are measured in calories. For example, if you wish to measure your height, it would be feet and inches. If you wish to measure distance, it would be in meters and kilometers. Food is measured in calories. For example, an egg raw is 80 calories. You fry the egg, it will be 100 calories. Why? Simply because you're adding 1 spoon of oil. So all foods, irrespective of whether they are a solid or a fluid, contains calories. The only food that does not contain calories is water. How many calories do you need? How do you measure the quantity of food that you need? A growing child would require approximately 2,000 calories a day. An adolescent would require 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day, perhaps more. An active worker would require 3,000 calories today. The less physical labor you do, the less food you need. So office workers like you and I would probably require only 1,500 calories of food a day. Ladies who are pregnant, in case they are sedentary, would need to add 300 calories, and so would a lactating mother. A sports person who is physically active would require more calories. All food have calorie values. So how many calories should we eat? What is a good calorie intake? For an urban individual like you and I, about 1,500 calories. Maybe you could get up in the morning and have a cup of tea. You could add milk or sugar. That would give you not more than 20 calories. At breakfast, you should preferably have an Indian breakfast, chapatis, and sabji, as opposed to eggs, which are not good, toast, which has no value, butter, which is not good. You could perhaps have idlis, maybe 1 or 2 idlis, 1 or 2 chapatis and some sabji. This would be about 275 calories. Your lunch comprising of 1 cup or a katori of chawal, 1 cup of dal, 1 cup or a katori of sabji, maybe some dahi and a fruit would give you about 600 calories. An evening, a cup of tea. You don't need any snacks. Your dinner should be lighter than your lunch, because after dinner you go to sleep. So not more than 400 to 500 calories for dinner. And then before you sleep, a cup of milk. Irrespective of the amount of calories, it is important for us to have sufficient healthy foods. Now, where do healthy foods come from? Fruits. All fruits are healthy. So are vegetables and grain and pulses. Dairy products that are skimmed, removed of the fat. Foods such as honey, which have their own therapeutic values. Fluids, fruit juices, vegetable juices. All these are part of a healthy diet. There are several types of diets. Fasting. Is it good for you or bad for you? Fasting is essential. Maybe we should not eat food at all one day in the week. This will purify our system. What sort of fast should we use? A liquid fast, which means that during the time you are not eating solid foods, you should have sufficient liquids. A low-calorie diet. A low-calorie diet is to restrict your intake to less than 1500 calories. A calorie-plus diet, which is a diet for active sportsmen, pregnant ladies, mothers who are lactating. They would need the normal diet plus a little bit. And then you have therapeutic diets. What is a therapeutic diet? A therapeutic diet is a medical diet. Hypertension, diabetes, these need specific food inputs. And then a geriatric diet. What is the geriatric diet? A diet for older people, because their food is less easily absorbed, less readily digested. So there are several forms of diets, some of which are good and some of which are bad and should be avoided. Let us consider first the therapeutic diets. There are several therapeutic diets. For example, for a heart attack, for individuals who have cardiac problems, for individuals who have high levels of cholesterol. What sort of diet should they have? Obviously, you need to reduce calories. You need to reduce weight. You need to reduce salt. You need to reduce fat. That's important. In a cardiac diet, a diabetic diet. What should a diabetic diet entail? Certainly, you must lose weight. You must be within the height-weight range. You must avoid sugar. These are important. You must avoid simple carbohydrates, such as bread and potatoes. Potatoes is a complex carbohydrate, but yet it does contain excess amount of starch. For those of us who want to avoid cancer, and all of us want to avoid cancer, what should we have? High fiber, fruits and vegetables, low levels of fat, low levels of chemicals and additives and fast foods. These are important. So therapeutic diets are diets that are prescribed by a doctor. But there are several fad diets. There are diets that we read in the newspapers, in magazines. These diets should preferably be avoided. Some of these diets have high levels of protein. Protein will cause constipation. Some of these diets have low levels of carbohydrate. Carbohydrate needs to give you energy. Some of these diets will allow you to eat only one type of food a day. Maybe milk on one day, maybe meat on the next day, maybe fruit on the third day, maybe vegetables on the fourth day. And therefore, this is not balanced, and therefore this should also be avoided. The word balance is important. You should have a balanced diet. A balanced diet is a diet that contains all the food groups: cereals, vegetables, fruits, milk, a small amount of meat, a small amount of milk, sugars. They should all be contained in a balanced diet. One aspect of food is calories. One aspect of nutrition is calories. The other aspect is activity. The American Heart Association, the American Association of Physicians have now made activity an essential part of nutrition. Food in is calories in. Energy out is calories out. We must balance our daily calorie intake. Walking burns 250 calories an hour. Jogging would burn about 500 to 600 calories an hour. And in between, the entire range, the entire spectrum of activity, whether it is housework, whether it is yoga, whether it is freehand exercise, whether it is swimming, whether it is cycling, any physical activity burns energy. On the one hand, we take food in to get energy. On the other hand, we must utilize exercise to burn that energy. If you do not burn that energy, you will have excess calories. If you have excess calories, it will convert into fat. Research has indicated that the normal calorie intake of an urban Indian is about 2,500 calories. One half of those calories is utilized by body functions. For example, digestion, respiration, defecation, your sedentary work in the office. All these utilize about 50% of the body's needs. In case you are functioning in an office in a more active way, you get up, you walk about, you get your papers, you do your dictation, this will utilize about 600 to 700 calories. What is left over is about 700 calories, which means that you are utilizing approximately 3/4 of your daily intake of food of 2,500 calories. The balance 700 calories is kept in reserve. This reserve results in body fat. It is stored in the body in an ancient evolutionary system. In case you do not eat food, this fat will be utilized as energy. But in modern days, we eat food every day, and therefore this storage keeps building more and more and more. And now, more than 50% of us are overweight. So what is the solution? Certainly there are two solutions. One solution is to eat less food. That's important. The other solution is to do more exercise. Which is the better solution? The better solution is a moderate food intake and a moderate exercise output, because exercise gives you tremendous benefits. By simply dieting, you will lose all the benefits of active exercise. So what is the solution? A 2,500 calorie diet on the one hand, or even less. In case you utilize 700 calories or the reserve calories as exercise activity, the calories will balance. 50% or 1,200 calories will go on day-to-day sedentary activities, 600 to 700 calories for your day-to-day work, 700 calories for exercise, resulting in a complete calorie balance. You will be slim and healthy. So how do we know that we are overweight? Certainly there are scientific measures. There is height-weight ranges. You can use a skin fold caliper to measure the amount of fat under your skin, but not all of us have access to that. You could simply identify being overweight by using your health or height as a guide. For example, take your height in centimeters. If you are 160 centimeters, minus 100 and you will have 60. Your body weight should not exceed 60 kgs. That is one method, using your height as a measure in centimeters. In case you know your height in feet and inches, that could be another method. For example, if you are 5 feet 3 inches, convert this into inches. 5 feet 3 inches would be 63 inches. Your height is 63 inches, and therefore your weight should not exceed 63 kgs. That's another method. They both will give you an approximation of your maximum weight. The third method is to find out if you're overweight. Simply take a tape measure. To measure your waist with a tape measure, if your waist exceeds your chest, in the case of male, or if your waist exceeds your hip, in the case of female, it would then mean that you are overweight and you must take steps to reduce your weight. So how do you reduce your weight? One, most certainly, you should balance your calories. A diet between 1,000 and 1,500 calories. Less than 1,000 and you will be depriving yourself of important nutrients. More than 1,500 and you will be adding unnecessary calories. We must all do approximately 500 calories of exercise activity. What are these 500 calories? It means 1 hour activity, either walking or jogging or cycling or swimming, any form of exercise activity. There are certain foods that you must avoid. For example, you must avoid high levels of fat. You must avoid fried foods. You must avoid too much of sugar. You must avoid synthetic foods, fast foods, such as hamburgers, pizzas, eating out more than twice a week. These are the things that should be avoided. By balancing your calories between the food intake and the exercise activity, you can not only manage your weight, but also improve your health. So what are the foods to avoid? The foods to avoid are sugar, salt, processed foods and chemical foods, too much of fat. So what are we left with? We are left with grains, rice, wheat, maize, dals, pulses. This must form about 40% of your diet. You are left with fruits and vegetables, preferably uncooked. Even cooked is good. This should form 30 to 35%. You have milk, skim milk, and then you have meat and pulses, which will give you your protein and growth, and don't forget water. Thank you.
So viewers, next time you and your family go for a buffet meal, make sure you head for the salads and vegetable section. And those of you who head towards the red meats and the desserts and puddings, you might just find that you become part of the 50% fat population of our country.